Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are tuning in from today. It's Dawn here from Your Life Reinvented Hypnotherapy, the anxiety expert. And today we have such a treat for you. Right beside me here, I have Stacey. He has completed our anxiety relief program 11 months ago, and he was kind enough to hop on here with me today and kind of catch up and get a follow-up on how he's been doing with everything from where he was almost a year ago now. So welcome to the call here, Stacey.
Hello.
Hi. So, Stacey, just a first question here. What did you book with me and get in control of your anxiety issues way back 11 or so months ago?
It was actually my wife. She was the reason that we found you.
Hmm.
She figured it would be a good idea for me to figure out what was going on,
Hmm.
and I was in a bad way, and I needed to do something.
Yeah, yeah. And you're not the first person where their wives or their husbands have reached out to me on behalf of their partner, and that's a true sign that our partners truly care about our well-being. So you've got a good catch there. That's awesome.
Yeah, she
So
is on.
Stacey, in regards to your anxiety symptoms that you were experiencing, what kind of things were you experiencing and how did it make you feel?
Oh, I would get sick. I'd shake. Couldn't breathe. Pass out. Um, yeah, I actually thought I was having a heart attack. Went to the hospital.
Hmm.
Yeah, I went to the hospital twice. Yeah, yeah, it sucked.
Yeah. And I remember you had mentioned it was getting to the point where was it interfering with your job and your career?
Oh yeah. Well, I couldn't work for a long time because of it. And then when like when I was starting to go back to work, I couldn't sleep because I'd wake up sweating and I'd be scared and have an anxiety attack and then try to
Hmm.
go back to sleep. And like I work 12-hour shifts, so it's like you work 12 hours and then you got to drive an hour there, drive an hour back. You got half hour of crossover. There's not a lot of hours. So when you only get about 6 hours of sleep, when four of them you're up because you're sweating so bad, like I'd usually go to bed with three pillows because I'd have
Mm.
three pillows soaked by the morning,
Wow.
and like my whole body. Yeah, I actually went to the doctor and he like he was gonna put me on a medicine, and it was like $750. It would have been $750 a month for these pills to make me stop sweating because it was like, yeah, it was gross.
Wow.
I, yeah, I haven't sweat, haven't had night sweats in probably I don't know 6 months, 7 months.
That's
Like,
awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
I actually have to have blankets on now.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Oh yeah,
You're not
yeah.
having to change the bedclothes all the time and a
No,
few times in the middle of
no,
the night, right? So that's awesome. Now,
yeah.
other than going to see your doctor and him talking or her talking to you about going on this medicine to help with the sweating, what other things did you try to fix your anxiety problems in the past before you and I had met?
Like breathing exercises and anger, like anger exercises, and because I do suffer from a lot of anger, and I know that,
Hmm.
and it's yeah, and that helps too. But mostly I just put shit off and didn't deal with it. I just buried it.
Hmm.
It
Like
was like,
the wall.
yeah, it was easier.
Hmm.
So
And then obviously it came to the point where the wall wasn't working anymore.
no, I couldn't go to work. I had such a bad anxiety attack that I had to go to the hospital,
Hmm.
and it was like COVID, and it like they made me like I had to wear a mask. I was having an anxiety attack and I couldn't breathe,
Yeah.
and I had to wear a mask. And then they put a face shield on me,
Oh,
and I
geez.
was like, and then they wouldn't let my wife come in, but she was the one pushing the wheelchair, and I was like passing out in the wheelchair because I couldn't breathe. So it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
So
totally. You're already
yeah,
having all these symptoms, and
yeah,
then the
I was
hospital
just like,
says,
oh my god.
you
And then
know,
I could feel,
oh,
yeah,
we're gonna
I
put the
could feel
mask
my
on and the
wife
shield
towards
on, and your
me.
wife can't come in. Oh,
Yeah.
that
And
must
then
have felt
and then the
awful.
worst part was is they put me in the room with a bunch of people that had COVID. And I'm like, I'm hyperventilating.
And
Like,
it's, you know, you're laughing now, right? But this is no
oh yeah,
laughing matter, obviously.
oh
I'm
no,
sure when that was happening,
well,
that was the
it
last thing
was
on your
really
mind.
traumatic. Now that like I'm on way on the other side of it, yeah, I can laugh at it. But yeah, that really, really, really bothered me. Like,
Yeah, totally.
come on,
Yeah,
that was hard.
I can see why. And so,
Yeah.
you know, before you and I met and we got on our free consultation and chatted a bit, what were your thoughts on coaching and hypnotherapy before kind of you decided to jump in with this?
I've always believed in stuff like this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I always have. Like I think people's minds are the strongest thing there is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And so that means you're open-minded to alternative things outside of
Yeah, yeah,
mainstream, right? Yeah, and that's
yeah, for sure.
and if we look back, I mean, I can't believe it. It's been 11 months. I counted back the months. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And you and I have been briefly in touch throughout that time, kind of checking in and whatnot. And so you did a lot of work over those 4 weeks. We did 4 sessions online.
Yeah,
You were also doing your self-hypnosis. You were using those powerful techniques that I taught you to help
yeah.
you resolve your anxiety. Now, how did
I swear that I still smile when I see red lights. From that, I do. It's like what? And then I think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, it does. It makes me smile.
yeah.
Sorry, I
And
didn't mean to interrupt
no,
you.
no, no, that's totally cool. So if you look at how did you find the entire experience working together with me and the benefits that you felt and what you enjoyed most, would you say, out of the whole journey together?
Oh, I really enjoyed actually all of it. I liked how comfortable I got to be. Like it's hard when you have anxiety to go into somebody's office and be like, this is where I'm gonna, and you're not comfortable. Like you're not. You're already anxious, but like I
Hmm.
could be so calm when we talked. It made me comfortable. I really really like that.
That's awesome.
I like your attitude.
Thank you.
That makes
Thank
me
you.
happy. I don't. Oh man, I'm missing shit. I know I am.
Oh, that's all good. You know,
It-
it's interesting, Stacey. Let's touch
oh,
on this.
oh,
Like, oh yeah,
this
go ahead.
the self hypnosis
Hmm.
that has bailed me out of so many things. It like
Really? Awesome.
yes, yes. The other day at work, I was like, I was really really tired. Like we've been working a lot of hours, and I was really lightheaded in the morning, and I wasn't sure like what was going on. I was like dazed, and I was just like, okay, I gotta take 5 minutes, and I just sat there and I closed my eyes and I started to calm myself down and talk myself down, and it was like, yeah, no, it's all good. Like I couldn't have done that before. I'm
And
still using it.
you use the self-hypnosis practice that I taught you to do
Yes,
that.
yes,
Okay, that's
I still
awesome.
do. Yeah,
And and that's one thing I, you know, mention to my clients is it's not, you know, we definitely recommend you doing the self-hypnosis while we're working together, but also this is a tool that never goes away. And you haven't obviously, it's been almost a year, you haven't forgotten how to use it. You pick it, it's a tool in your toolbox. When you need
it,
it, you just pull
yeah,
it out.
and it like centers me. So it's like if I'm like, because I'm all over the place. Like I I just that's how I always am at work. I can't
Hmm.
stop. I just keep moving. And like when I get like that, sometimes I just have to sit down and I have to calm down and I have to chill out. And it's like I'll take 15, 20 minutes to myself.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, it makes me feel way better.
Yeah. That's so awesome to hear that you're still using those tools, because those tools I know that I mentioned to you in the beginning are so helpful that you continue on even after we finish the program. So I'm so happy to hear that you're still doing those, Stacey. That's awesome. That's awesome.
It helps with other things, not just anxiety. So
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
it's a good thing. I appreciate
And
it.
and and that's so awesome. So how was that process, if we talk about that process of using those tools as self-hypnosis and the other tools that you got in the program, how did you find doing those every day when we were working together?
Oh, I like doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. It blew me away that sometimes it was like it felt like 5 minutes went by and then it was like done. And I'm like, what? And then I felt really good. And I was like, well, I don't know what happened, but I feel amazing. So it's got to be good. And then other times I remember a lot. And it's like, and both times I still felt really good. And I felt like I accomplished something, even though I didn't maybe remember what I accomplished.
Hmm.
And I liked it.
And that's a really cool thing is when we're using the power of our mind, your super conscious mind, which is who I
Yeah.
work with inside of you to do that change work, to help with that change work, it does all that work, whether you realize what it's doing or not. It's always for your highest good, and you always feel better after, if not right away, as things process
Yeah.
through. So that's awesome. And when we look at things, when we look back, you and I only worked together for 4 weeks, Stacey.
Yeah.
So when we look at, when we did the consult together, I do remember that very vividly. And then when we finished off after our 4 week program, how how are you feeling at the end of that? And then when we progress further, because I know you said some things in our recent correspondence about having a new job and moving and lots of different changes.
Oh yeah. No, and that's like that's the thing that I've been able to do like since I've finished the program and then like worked on my own shit around home. Like I was working around home and then I felt better. So I went away to work again and then I felt way better. So then I called these guys to see if they had work and they had work. And yeah, and I would have never been able to do this job if I hadn't gone through that program. Like there's no way because my anxiety took over and it wasn't happening. Like
Hmm.
that was the final straw. I didn't go to work. I was supposed to leave for work at 4:30 in the morning. I woke up at 3 soaked. I'm like, I gotta go back to sleep. I gotta go back to sleep. Started to hyperventilate, started to freak out, lips going blue, like passing out. Carrie's giving me shit. I'm like, yeah. And she's the one who had taken me to the hospital.
Hmm.
So yeah, she's like, get your shit together.
In a kind way, right?
In a kind way. Oh yeah, like
And that's
no, she
what can happen, like having anxiety because of the anxiety,
yeah,
right?
and
It's
that's
a
how it is. It's like, and then you stop trusting your own head because it's
hmm
like, do I have the anxiety or am I just like, am I starting to have an anxiety attack or and then it compounds.
hmm
It's terrible.
hmm
I've never been a weak person in my life, and that made me weak for a long time.
and
And I,
that's interesting that you say that, and being vulnerable and sharing that, and that's the thing is anxiety it's important to note, and I share this with all of my clients. It's a symptom of a larger issue, right? It doesn't make you
yeah,
weak, and in that you're not a weak person. It's just like we've been ruminating about these thoughts that they're not even our own anymore. We're making up all these stories, and so you can't solve an unconscious problem consciously. And no matter how many things, deep breathing, journaling, like talk therapy, all of these modalities, diet changes, exercise, they're all good. But again, they don't work permanently because you can't solve an unconscious problem consciously, right? So you can breathe and do the deep breathing
yeah,
and distract yourself and put up the wall, but eventually something happens and it triggers you, and here we go again. And then it gets to the point, like you said, you weren't able to work, and that's a problem too, because You know, it's like, what do? I'm not able to work. I need
Yeah.
help. You know, how do I get back to work? Well, I need to get help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
I
like that.
know.
Yeah, exactly. So now let's look forward. We're almost, like I said, a year into after we've completed, basically. Um, how do you feel now overall with life in general after completing the anxiety relief program with me?
Everything's actually been really good here. These guys, they treat me really well. Like I live in Mahogany. I didn't even know what Mahogany was. And then everyone's like, oh, you live in Mahogany. I'm like, yeah, it's like a big house for me and my son. So they give me a truck. They pay me a good wage. I work too much, but that's kind of my own fault. So I don't have to work as much as I do, but I just like to be there.
Yeah.
And I like physically, I'm 225 pounds. I haven't been 225 pounds since I was like probably 20. Like I'm in better shape than I've ever been, other than the bad arm and the
Mm-hmm.
bad knee. That stuff, it works better when you're lighter, and when
Mm-hmm.
you're more fit. So I feel a lot better physically too. And
And
that's just being able to do stuff. Like, wait, once I got free of the anxiety, then I could
mm-hmm.
do stuff again. And it was like, yeah, I just keep getting more healthy because I'm back to being able to live
Yeah,
properly.
enjoy your life because I know, you know, back then
I
you
don't,
were in a hard way there when we first
yeah.
started,
And I
right?
also like, I wouldn't have gone and did a job like this. Like, I got way more confidence now because I just know that I can handle it. I know
Mm-hmm.
that like even before like the I went to the had to go to the hospital like back 20 years, like I still wouldn't go and try and push myself to do something like this
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
because I knew the anxiety that I would have dealing with all the different aspects of the job.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
just, yeah, I'm happy.
that's so awesome. And you made some massive changes in your life, like I think you mentioned you lost about 40 pounds since we finished our
I
program.
was, yeah, I was, well, when I was at like, I was, when I got sick originally, I was like 275.
Mm,
So
yeah,
yeah, now I'm
yeah.
225. Well, I'm probably lighter than 225, but last time I stepped on the scale was last week and I was 225.
Well, you know what? I can see you're glowing, and so many changes I can just see just by looking at you and listening to the tone and everything else. So after finishing all of this and all of making all of these changes, and they were massive changes, were they?
Well, like change, you mean massive changes in my day-to-day life or like what
Yeah, like
with
when you and I
you and
were working together, did you have to make massive changes in order to get where you are today?
I?
Because we
I
worked
did.
together for five weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, but
Well,
you made,
what we did together didn't feel like it was strenuous to do. I didn't. So I might be misunderstanding your question, but what I like when we work together, I don't make like I really enjoyed that. It was like I looked forward to it. So
yeah,
the other changes that came after, yeah, I made big changes.
yeah, you
And
did.
it but it needed to happen. It was just, yeah,
So
it needed to happen. I was in the wrong way.
now let's look in the future, knowing and looking into the future and forward into the future. How do you see your life with all these changes happening, like moving forward?
Carrie and I are going to buy land in Ecuador, and we're probably
Ooh,
going to build a house there in 2 years. And I would have, yeah, I don't even like to travel, but I want to start doing the shit I was scared to do.
I'll
So,
come visit.
no, yeah, open invitation. We got some friend. I got some friends that went down there and bought places. So
Oh,
they've been
that's
bugging me they've been bugging me, but it's like, man, Ecuador. I don't know. But I guess it's a really peaceful place, and as long as you're good to them, they're good to you, and I got no problems with that.
yeah.
So,
And you're open-minded to do something
oh
different and
yeah.
to,
Plus,
you know,
I love the food, like all the fruit and seafood. Like I could care less if I ever have another steak,
that's awesome.
but I do. I love my seafood and fish, and it's yeah. I don't know. It just fits too, because like I'm I could eat a mango every 5 minutes, and like they grow everywhere there. It's like what?
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So now, Stacey, before we finish up here today, what would you say to someone that might be sitting on the fence, not sure about whether to go ahead with something like this? What would you say to them?
I would say don't hesitate. Like that, I thought that when we worked together, that you were gonna like help me with just my anxiety, but it was so much more other stuff that it helped me with. Like it got
Mm,
rid of my anxiety, yes, but it helped me with so much the way I treat people, the way I look at things, the way I take in the way people are talking to me and what they're saying. Like you help me in a lot of aspects, not
mm,
just anxiety.
mhm.
So yeah, I wouldn't wait. Get it done.
Awesome. Awesome. And I thank you so much, Stacey, for coming on
I
here
thank
and
you.
and sharing. You're very welcome. My pleasure. Sharing your experience with us and you're a true product of what happens when someone commits to the process, is open-minded, and just trusts the process and truly wants to resolve these issues permanently. So, when you put in that effort, you get the results. And so this is amazing. So I wanted to thank you again for taking the time. I know you work 18-hour days, so I really do appreciate your
No,
time
that's not
hopping on with me.
today.
And
Yeah,
yeah, and I'm looking forward to continuing to keep up with you and see how you're doing. And maybe the next time I'm back in Calgary, we can grab a coffee if you're not working and just connect in person. So that's lovely. And wanted to say thank you
yeah.
again so much, Stacey, for sharing your experience with everyone else.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah, you're so welcome. All right, guys. Well, that's it for testimonial with Stacey today. So if you're wondering if what I do can help you too, don't hesitate. Just reach out. It's just one click away. You never know what's going to happen. Bye for now, guys.